You're listening to the Hidden Killers podcast with Tony Brueski,
featuring former federal prosecutor and president of West Coast Trial Lawyers, Neama Rahmani.
Horrible case of this youth pastor who called himself a monster after being arrested, who stabbed his wife and 5 children because there was a looming eviction going on their property. He did not tell the family anything of this. Just it took it out of him. It seemingly that he snapped and could not deal with what the shame would be of being, I guess, what he would view as a failure of allowing this to take place. But then to go and attempt to kill your family. Amazingly, they all survived, at least as of this recording. What the hell is this? Is this the prime example of a family annihilator who is doing it based on financial reasons? Kind of like Alex Murdaugh, who everyone said, how could someone do this? This seems to be a prime example, but thank God the family survived.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest stresses on a family. One of the major causes for divorce as well is financial problems. And obviously infidelity is usually number one, but this is sort of a 1B right there. And it, again, not an excuse for any type of criminal behavior, much as murdering or attempting to murder your own wife and kids. But, people do snap when they're under this financial pressure. Not an excuse, not a legal defense. But, am I surprised that something like this causes someone to lose it? Not really, Tony, because, people kill their loved ones because they're having an affair or their loved one is having an affair. So this isn't that far removed, when it comes to just setting someone off emotionally, unfortunately.
It's a bizarre one. And the next question, it's kind of psychological, but I'm curious to get your take on it. I've asked several people that this week, is the fact that everyone survived. We hear stories of people who try to take themselves out and fail at it. And it seems kind of almost a cry for help of, they go so far, but not quite all the way. The story that we know here is quite extreme. All the way with one of the sons having their intestines and such, according to the affidavit, literally coming out of their body the way he was stabbed, and then him setting fire to the house. It very much seemed like he was trying to kill everyone. Or was this also some sort of horrible cry for help, or was it just another failure on his part where he couldn't even pull this off?
Yeah, it's, so this is late at night, right? 4 a.m. He's, trying to stab his kids, setting the house on fire. The dispatchers hear the alarms, hear everything in the background. So, I don't know. It's you're kind of trying to get inside the head of a crazy person. I'm sure you have all sorts of experts that, come on the show and kind of tell you more. I've been doing this for more than 20 years and I still haven't been able to figure it out. And I've heard lots of experts testify as to why someone would want to hurt themselves or hurt their loved ones. Is it something where they just snap? Is it in them? Like, what are they thinking? And I still have never been able to wrap my head around it ever. Like, how bad could things be? They want to kill your own wife and kids, It just, I'll never understand. And, there's nothing anyone could tell me that will help me understand why someone would do something like this.
No, I think either, and if you can understand it, it would be a scary thought. I think if you're like, oh yeah, I get it. I totally understand why somebody would do that. It's just so horrific. It's absolutely shocking. Does this happen in a vacuum though? Because, I was watching their social media. A lot of it was still up, maybe still up. I don't know. But it was a family that really presented itself, social media is always the best of, but it was very, it looked like a loving family. The mother, kids, and everybody happy. I'm wondering if there was some sort of pattern of abuse or something. Do you think something like this was somebody, this just absolutely came out of nowhere and everyone's completely shocked? Or is this someone who has wrestled with anger issues for quite some time and then it just went off the rails?
Yeah, it's usually something that has been building for quite some time. Of course, people can snap, but usually there's a history of this. The kids are saying that they're in bed and their dad comes and starts stabbing them. He's saying that he stabbed his family, because there's all those financial problems and he's lying to his wife and it told him that they're being evicted. He just basically is like, I'm going to burn it to the ground as opposed to losing my home. So I don't know the answer to that. Usually, though, in my experience, doesn't just happen like that. A period of psychosis with a snap of a finger. Usually, there's some sort of history behind the scenes that we don't know about.
We don't know as of yet, but the fact that he admitted to all of this right when he was arrested, one would have to guess he's going to plead guilty. What is an appropriate sentence for someone like this, where technically there were no deaths that occurred, came pretty damn close, but again, it did not happen, and it looked like some sort of a mental health event more than he was necessarily someone who's out there as a serial killer stalking people and looking for their prey. This seemed to be like some sort of massive breakdown on his part. What would be appropriate for something like this? Is this someone who really needs to be just locked away and throw away the key because they've demonstrated they're able to go down this road at one point in life?
Yeah, it's a unique case. Like you said, here's someone who told law enforcement that he's a monster. He admits to doing it. It's not a case that's going to be defended on the merits, right? It's just the fashioning an appropriate sentence. Is this someone that can be rehabilitated? Frankly, the question is, if and when you he's not going to go away for life, right? It's not a murder case, an attempted murder. Assuming you let him out, whether it's after whatever you want to say, 15 years, something to that effect, is this someone that is going to be a danger to himself and society? That's really kind of the main question here, right? I assume he has little to no criminal history, but is there a risk that something like this is going to happen again? That's the question I'm asking myself if I'm the judge, and I certainly want to see some sort of evidence from mental health experts, psychs, and so forth that this is someone that's not going to attempt to kill again.
Yeah, is it someone who's going to attempt to kill again, or is this someone who seems to have a moment of clarity afterwards by what he told investigators, where he's honestly, I can't imagine going on with life if you snap out of that and you realize you did all these things to your family, and him continuing to go on. I would imagine he may be the biggest risk to himself of trying to take himself out, just with the enormous guilt and pressure that would be on him with just the realization of what he did.
Oh, and no question. This is someone that would be a high risk for suicide, both in and out of custody. So, realizing what you've done to your loved ones, it's really every parent's worst nightmare. It's like that happened to your kids, and then you caused it yourself. So, no question, Tony. The guy is going to be a risk to himself and potentially others.
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast.
Want more? Start binging on all of our true crime podcasts right now through Apple Podcasts, and get an ad-free experience when you sign up to be a True Crime Today Premium Plus member, exclusively on Apple Podcasts.
More of the Hidden Killers Podcast, dropping soon.
Press subscribe now.